Welcome to the Eric Brady podcast, Series 1, Adolf Hitler, His Bombers and Me. Episode 33, In Memoriam. Eric, tell us how you've helped to ensure these wartime experiences are not forgotten, including the bombing of Sandhurst Road School that killed so many, including your sister Kitty.
For quite a period, I was giving talks to various interest groups of my wartime experiences. That led on to two interviews on television. A producer had been given a commission to make a program on the war. He contacted Sandhurst Road School, and because I've been in touch with them on the basis of writing my book, he then contacted me. And as a result of that, he made two programs in different years that were broadcast on television, but basically featuring Kitty and myself.
One programme was the BBC's The Week We Went to War in 2009, where you were interviewed about the bombing.
On the occasion of my visit to the school, I had spoken to the headmistress beforehand, and she took me over the school, and part of the original school was still standing and being used. They had added sections as well, so that you could walk from one part of the new school into the part of the old school, which I still remembered. And they had also constructed a memorial garden in the playground. And so that was the reason why she asked me to give a brief talk to the children, but that was only short. And of course, I didn't go into many details because I didn't want to frighten the children. But Kitty's name is one of those in the circle of plaques to the children that were killed.
In a past episode, we also talked about the communal grave and memorial in Hither Green Cemetery. You've also memorialised the events in a fictional trilogy, haven't you? Tell us about that.
Having written the autobiography of what had happened to my family, it then occurred to me to write a trilogy of fictional books. The first one, When the Bombs Begin to Fall, I have the background of my family. A lot of it is fictional, but some of it is true and was based upon my own experiences. I also have in the book that Kitty wasn't killed, but that Kitty lost both legs in the bombing and how she coped with that. And in fact, that injury actually happened to one of the ladies I met up with, who was one of the three worst injured, as I was. And because of all the wars that went on after the World War II, in which our troops and servicemen were involved, I've based the following two books on the family growing up and the events that happened to them, with my younger brother in the books, actually serving in national service in various capacities. The first is When the Bombs Begin to Fall. The second is Enemies and Allies. And the third, which culminates in the 1962 nuclear standoff between Russia and America, is called Is This Peace? Both in my autobiography and in writing the section on the school being bombed, which is factual, it hit me as I actually relived that incident, and the way in which at first, as the bomb hit and went bang, I was excited. But what hit me was when the roof began to fall down on top of me, and of course all the other children that were there. then that was difficult. It was particularly as I'd grown up and married, and each of my 3 children went through the ages of when things happened to me, like when I was evacuated, what my parents and perhaps particularly my mother must have felt, because she was the one who pushed for Kitty to be brought home in 1942, early in March, and me being brought home in September, and her insisting on us being home, though Kitty wanted to go back to be evacuated, and how utterly appalling it must have been for my mother as well as my father when we were injured and Kitty killed. She must have gone through hell. And the other thing also was when I came home from hospital, I was a permanent reminder to her of that decision that she had made. And as my children, each of them, reached those ages, I perhaps got a better understanding of my parents' feelings of what happened to me and to Kitty. So I'd like to dedicate this to Kitty and my parents.
To buy your copy of Adolf Hitler, His Bombers and Me to read alongside the series, go to ericbradybooks.co.uk. The Eric Brady podcast can be found on YouTube, podcast services and at ericbrady.blogspot.com.